Non-duality is remembering who you are beyond the person. Non-duality isn't about healing the person or fixing the person. But I think in order to experience true healing, there needs to be the recognition of non-duality. But non-duality isn't about healing the person. So if you do therapies without hearing non-duality as well and recognizing that you aren't that personality structure, then it's impossible to really heal from that. It can become more balanced, I presume, but if it's not hearing non-duality as well, then it just stays in the wheel of itself. It needs to also recognize that who you are and who everyone is this alive presence, is this emptiness experiencing itself as fullness. And this isn't religious, this isn't a spiritual recognition, and this isn't for you. This is just the way things are. That right now you might believe you're sitting listening to someone, but actually there is no separate entities experiencing this life. Separate entities are experienced, but they're not the experiencer. Your personality structure isn't the experiencer. And this is a remembering of that, a remembering that who you are is this boundless freedom that's beyond you. And with that recognition, then all the therapies you do and personal development will more than likely have a better effect, as that person won't be struggling to try to get rid of itself or try to find freedom in that personality structure. There'll be an absolute acceptance of it the way it is, and through that acceptance, this is when the healing really begins. If you're always trying to run away from yourself, then there can't be a true healing. And when there's a belief that you are the personality, then there's always going to be the attempt to run away. You're always going to believe that the future will give you home, whereas home is your nature, and in that arises a personality structure. And believing you're that personality structure always covers home, veils that freedom, and makes you feel like you need to get it in the future, or in something, or in an item, or in an event. One of the problems or difficulties about talking about non-duality is the person expects non-duality to be an event, and it's not an event. Seeing who you are isn't an event, it's been there the whole time. It's just what's been covering it is this person. This belief that you're experiencing this life, that you're moving through time and that you're separate from this life, you're separate from other people. And the remembering of this isn't and cannot be an event, because who would it be an event for? Who would get this? So what is non-duality? Non-duality has two sides of the same coin. It's nothing and it's everything. And this nothing isn't something you can imagine. It's non-existence, it's absolute emptiness. It's not something you can see. We think, oh, we can see nothing. It's just nothing looking out. Nothing experiencing. And it's also everything, because what is it that's experiencing life right now? And you'll notice that life is experiencing itself, and it comes from no place. And the everything part is love. The nothing part is wisdom. That nobody's ever suffered this life. There's not anyone that's suffered this life. Personality structure has had pains and pleasures and suffering, but it's seen that that personality structure isn't the experiencer. It's an experience. And the personality structure will suck this into its way of thinking, and it will look to emotions for freedom. It will look to ways of being as freedom. So it might hear this message and feel hopeless, like I can't get there. But this is just the personality structure. It's got a habit of feeling hopeless, and so it hears this and it adds that to its hopelessness. But what is it that's experiencing that personality structure? That hopelessness. If you feel like you're separate and you feel like you can do things, then go into that feeling. Recognize where it is. Put the attention there and see the thoughts that are produced by it, and recognize the other times in your life when you've produced those thoughts. And see that there is something that's free, that's experiencing that. That appears in this alive presence, this alive sense of existence. And you aren't that one that feels hopeless. You are that which it's appearing in, that infinite space in which it appears in. We often just listen to non-duality through our personality structures. If we struggle to feel emotions, then we like the fact that I say it's nothing. Or maybe if you feel lots of emotions, you like to hear it's nothing. Because maybe there is a wanting to feel less, or you can recognize that you don't feel much, so you can recognize that nothing, but that's all in the personality structure, and that comes and goes. in this alive presence, which is not a thing and everything, that's recognizing itself, and it's that sense of existence. This alive presence contains consciousness, but that consciousness isn't separate from anything. The consciousness is in all things. And the same with the sense of existence. We think we're alive, but actually there is aliveness, and this body appears and disappears in that. And we have a certain reaction to the speaker. So I'm sitting here talking about non-duality, and there can be lots of different reactions to that speaker. And again, depending on your personality structure, will depend on whether you like me or not, or whether you accept me or not. And we believe that that's got something to say about me as a speaker, or me communicating non-duality. But there's nobody communicating non-duality. There's nobody to be judged. My personality structure isn't the communicator of non-duality. It's just being communicated through this personality structure. Non-duality doesn't belong to anyone. You think my words are moving because of my own choice and my own free will, but life is moving these words. Life is moving this mouth. A live presence, or the big you, or the big I, or the I am, or the empty looking, or the consciousness, or whatever you express it to be, the nothing, the everything. But you look at my personality structure, and then there's a judgment on that level, and you think that that's actually judging the non-duality, and it can't. You'll either like me or don't, or not like me. You'll admire me, or you'll be jealous of me. You'll love me, or you'll hate me, and maybe you oscillate between all of that. All of those different feelings, and none of them are true. And whatever feelings you feel are perfectly valid, and as they are, just recognize that feeling. When I say perfectly valid, I'm not saying they're right, but they're valid because they're appearing. So recognize that feeling. If it's beauty or annoyance, just see it for what it is. See the thoughts are produced. See it's not true. And then see it's all appearing in this sense of existence, in this empty looking. And it appears and disappears, and that isn't who you are. You're not someone that's annoyed or frustrated or loving me or liking me or happy. You are this presence that never moves. It doesn't feel feelings. Feelings come and go in it. It doesn't feel a body comes and goes in it. And has feelings and thoughts and smells and sounds. Okay, so I'll take some questions now.